Welcome everyone. So we'll begin with a short meditation. Sit back comfortably. Withdraw your attention from the outside world and bring it to yourself. As I sit in stillness, I open my heart to the presence of the divine. I breathe in love, kindness, and compassion. I feel God's love filling me with warmth and with each breath, I trust in the infinite goodness and mercy that surrounds me. I let doubts and fears, embracing the unconditional love that is always there. In this sacred space, I connect with the divine, feeling seen, heard, and loved. God's love illuminates my path, guiding me towards compassion, forgiveness, and inner peace. Okay, thank you so much. So we'll begin with today's reading session. I'll just share the screen with you. So till now we've in this story we've found out that Santiago has worked in the crystal shop. So he's been there for 11 months and is now setting off to find his treasure in a caravan. Okay. So we're gonna start from here. Did you say a king? He asked. I guess you don't believe that a king would talk to someone like me, a shepherd, he said, wanting to end the conversation. Not at all. It was shepherds who were the first to recognize a king that the rest of the world refused to acknowledge. So it's not surprising that kings would talk to shepherds. And he went on, fearing that the boy wouldn't understand what he was talking about. It's in the Bible, the same book that taught me about Urim and Thummim. These stones were the only form of divination permitted by God. The priests carried them in a golden breastplate. The boy was suddenly happy to be there at the warehouse. Maybe this is an omen, said the Englishman, half aloud. Who told you about omens? The boy's interest was increasing by the moment. Everything in life is an omen, said the Englishman, now closing the journal he was reading. There is a universal language understood by everybody, but already forgotten. I am in search of that universal language, among other things. That's why I'm here. I have to find a man who knows that universal language, an alchemist. तो यहाँ पे जो इंग्लिशमैन है वो कहता है वो भी ही ऑल्सो नोज अबाउट ओमेन्स. तो वो बॉय बहुत सरप्राइज हो जाता है कि हाउ कम ही नोज अबाउट ओमेन्स. तो कहता है एवरीथिंग इन लाइफ इज एन ओमन. मतलब एवरीवन इज बीइंग गाइडेड इन सम वे और द अदर. तो ही सेज दिस इज अ यूनिवर्सल लैंग्वेज जो सबको समझ आती है बट सब भूल चुके हैं इस बारे में. So he's saying even he's here to find out who knows about this universal language, an alchemist. The conversation was interrupted by the warehouse boss. You're in luck, you two, the fat Arab said. There's a caravan leaving today for Al Fayoum. But I'm going to Egypt, the boy said. Al Fayoum is in Egypt, said the Arab. What kind of Arab are you? That's a good luck omen, the Englishman said after the fat Arab had gone out. If I could, I'd write a huge encyclopedia just about the words luck and coincidence. It's with those words that the universal language is written. He told the boy that it was no coincidence that he had met him with Urim and Thummim in his hand. And he asked the boy if he too were in search of the alchemist. I'm looking for a treasure, said the boy, and he immediately regretted having said it. But the Englishman appeared not to attach any importance to it. तो बॉय कहता है कि आई एम लुकिंग फॉर द ट्रेजर. वो इंग्लिशमैन को कहता है बट फिर वो रिग्रेट करता है बिकॉज आई थिंक वो ही वरिड हो जाता है कि ही डजंट आस्क फॉर पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रेजर इज वेल. बट वो इंग्लिशमैन को इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. वो कहता है in a way, so am I, he said. I don't even know what alchemy is. The boy was saying when the warehouse boss called to them to come outside. I'm the leader of the caravan, said a dark-eyed, bearded man. I hold the power of life and death for every person I take with me. The desert is a capricious lady, and sometimes she drives men crazy. There were almost 200 people gathered there and 400 animals, camels, horses, mules, and a fowl. In the crowd were women, children, and a number of men with swords at their belts and rifles slung on their shoulders. The Englishman had several suitcases filled with books. There was a babel of noise, and the leader had to repeat himself several times for everyone to understand what he was saying. तो वो जो कैरावान का लीडर था वो सबको बता रहा था. और उधर वहां पे देवर ऑलरेडी 200 पीपल और एनिमल्स और मतलब वो सारे बहुत आपस में देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ नॉइज सो ही हैड टू रिपीट हिमसेल्फ. There are a lot of different people here and each has his own god. But the only God I serve is Allah, and in His name I swear that I will do everything possible once again to win out over the desert. But I want each and every one of you to swear by the God you believe in that you will follow my orders no matter what. In the desert, disobedience means death. There was a murmur from the crowd. Each was swearing quietly to his or her own God. The boy swore to Jesus Christ. The Englishman said nothing, and the murmur lasted longer than a simple vow would have. The people were also praying to heaven for protection. A long note was sounded on a bugle, and everyone mounted up. The boy and the Englishman had bought camels and climbed uncertainly onto their backs. The boy felt sorry for the Englishman's camel loaded down, as he was with the cases of books. There's no such thing as coincidence, said the Englishman, picking up the conversation where it had been interrupted in the warehouse. I'm here because a friend of mine heard of an Arab who, but the caravan began to move, and it was impossible to hear what the Englishman was saying. The boy knew what he was about to describe, though the mysterious chain that links one thing to another, the same chain that had caused him to become a shepherd, that had caused his recurring dream, that had brought him to a city near Africa to find a king and to be robbed in order to meet a crystal merchant. And the closer one gets to realizing his personal legend, the more that personal legend becomes his true reason for being, thought the boy. The caravan moved towards the east. It traveled during the morning, halted when the sun was at its strongest, and resumed late in the afternoon. The boy spoke very little with the Englishman, who spent most of his time with his books. The boy observed in silence the progress of the animals and people across the desert. Now everything was quite different from how it was that day they had set out there. There had been confusion and shouting, the cries of children and the whining of animals, all mixed with the nervous orders of the guides and the merchants. But in the desert, there was only the sound of the eternal wind and of the hoofbeats of the animals. Even the guides spoke very little to one another. I've crossed these sands many times, said one of the camel drivers one night. But the desert is so huge and the horizon so distant that they make a person feel small and as if he should remain silent. The boy understood intuitively what he meant, even without ever having set foot in the desert before. Whenever he saw the sea or a fire, he felt silent, impressed by their elemental force. I've learned things from the sheep. I've learned things from crystal, he thought. I can learn something from the desert too. It seems old and wise. तो अब ये जर्नी की बता रहा है बॉय की हाउ इज द जर्नी व्हाट डज ही सीम टू बी लर्निंग थ्रू इट तो अब बस यही सब चल रहा है इसमें. The wind never stopped, and the boy remembered the day he had sat at the fort in Tarifa with the same wind blowing in his face. It reminded him of the wool from his sheep who were now seeking food and water in the fields of Andalusia, as they always had. They are not my sheep anymore, he said to himself without nostalgia. They must be used to their new shepherd and have probably forgotten me. That's good. Creatures like the sheep, they are used to traveling, know about moving on. तो सोचता अभी तक तो sheep भूल चुके होंगे उसको. उनका जो न्यू शेपर्ड है उसके साथ वो यूज टू हो गए होंगे. He thought of the merchant's daughter and was sure that she had probably married, perhaps to a baker or to another shepherd who could read and could tell her exciting stories. After all, he probably wasn't the only one. But he was excited at his intuitive understanding of the camel driver's comment. Maybe he was also learning the universal language that deals with the past and the present of all people. Hunches, his mother used to call them. The boy was beginning to understand that intuition is really a sudden immersion of the soul into the universal current of life, where the histories of all people are connected and we are able to know everything because it's all written there. Maktab, the boy said, remembering the crystal merchant. The desert was all sand in some stretches and rocky in others. When the caravan was blocked by a boulder, it had to go around it. If there was a large rocky area, they had to make a major detour. If the sand was too fine for the animals' hooves, they sought a way where the sand was more substantial. In some places, the ground was covered with the salt of dried up lakes. The animals barked at such places, and the camel drivers were forced to dismount and unburden their charges. The drivers carried the freight themselves over such treacherous footing and then reloaded the camels. If a guy if a guide were to fall ill or die, the camel drivers would draw lots and appoint a new one. But all this happened for one basic reason. No matter how many detours and adjustments it made, the caravan moved toward the same compass point. Once obstacles were overcome, it returned to its course, sighting on a star that indicated the location of the oasis. When the people saw that star shining in the morning sky, they knew they were on the right course toward water, palm trees, shelter, and other people. It was only the Englishman who was unaware of all this. He was, for the most part, immersed in reading his books. The boy too had his book, and he had tried to read it during the first few days of the journey. But he found it much more interesting to observe the caravan and listen to the wind. As soon as he had learned to know his camel better and to establish a relationship with him, he threw the book away. Although the boy had developed a superstition that each time he opened the book he would learn something important, he decided it was an unnecessary burden. तो ये सारा अपनी जर्नी को डिस्कवर कर रहा है और एंजॉय भी कर रहा है तो ही जस्ट वो सोचता है कि हर बार वो बुक पढ़ता है तो ही लर्न समथिंग न्यू बट वो आफ्टर दैट ही थॉट इट्स नॉट दैट मच important. So he's just observing the caravan and listening to the wind and enjoying the journey. He became friendly with the camel driver who traveled alongside him. At night, as they sat around the fire, the boy related to the driver his adventures as a shepherd. During one of these conversations, the driver told of his own life. I used to live near El Karam, he said. I had my orchard, my children, and a life that would change not at all until I died. One year, when the crop was the best ever, we all went to Mecca, and I satisfied the only unmet obligation in my life. I could die happily, and that made me feel good. One day the earth began to tremble and the Nile overflowed its banks. It was something that I thought could happen only to others, never to me. My neighbors feared they would lose all their olive trees in the flood, and my wife was afraid that we would lose our children. I thought that everything I owned would be destroyed. तो यहाँ पे जो वो ड्राइवर है वो अपनी लाइफ के बारे में बता रहे हैं. The land was ruined and I had to find some other way to earn a living. So now I'm a camel driver. But that disaster taught me to understand the word of Allah. People need not fear the unknown if they are capable of achieving what they need and want. We are afraid of losing what we have, whether it's our life or our possessions and property. But this fear evaporates when we understand that our life stories and the history of the world were written by the same hand. तो वो कह रहा है कि वी आर हम हम अफ्रेड होते हैं कि वी लूज आवर पोजेशंस, हमारी जो चीजें हैं जिसको हम इतना अपना समझते हैं बट देन जब वो फेयर कब जाता है, जब हमें पता चलता है कि जो हमारी ये लाइफ स्टोरीज हैं और ये जो वर्ल्ड की हिस्ट्री है वो सब इज फ्रॉम वन सुप्रीम हैंड जो ये सब कुछ करवा रहा है. Sometimes their caravan met with another. One always had something that the other needed, as if everything were indeed written by one hand. As they sat around the fire, the camel drivers exchanged information about windstorms and told stories about the desert. At other times, mysterious hooded men would appear. They were Bedouins who did surveillance along the caravan route. They provided warnings about thieves and barbarian tribes. They came in silence and departed the same way, dressed in black garments that showed only their eyes. One night, a camel driver came to the fire where the Englishman and the boy were sitting. There are rumors of tribal wars, he told them. The three fell silent. The boy noted that there was a sense of fear in the air, even though no one said anything. Once again, he was experiencing the language without words, the universal language. The Englishman asked if they were in danger. Once you get into the desert, there's no going back, said the camel driver. And when you can't go back, you have to worry only about the best way of moving forward. The rest is up to Allah, including the danger. तो वहां पे उनको कुछ डाउट होता है कि देर आर सम ट्राइबल वॉर्स गोइंग हैपनिंग ओवर देयर. तो सारे काफी क्वाइट हो जाते हैं एंड सब में एक फियर आ जाती है. तो वो कैमल ड्राइवर जो है वो यही बताता है कि वंस आप इस जर्नी पे चल चुके हो देन देयर इज नो लुकिंग बैक. मतलब यू जस्ट हैव टू होप फॉर द बेस्ट, यही सोचना है कि जो भी होगा सब अच्छा ही होगा. And he concluded by saying the mysterious word maktab. You should pay more attention to the caravan, the boy said to the Englishman after the camel driver had left. We make a lot of detours, but we are always heading for the same destination. And you ought to read more about the world, answered the Englishman. Books are like caravans in that respect. The immense collection of people and animals began to travel faster. The days had always been silent, but now even the nights, when the travelers were accustomed to talking around the fires, had also become quiet. And one day the leader of the caravan made the decision that the fires should no longer be lighted, so as not to attract attention to the caravan. तो वो सारे जो भी थे वो कैरावान में सब बहुत क्वाइट हो गए. और दिन में भी क्वाइट, रात को भी. और फिर एक दिन जो लीडर है उसने ये भी डिसाइड किया कि कोई भी फायर्स ना लाइट करे ताकि कोई भी अटेंशन ना अट्रैक्ट हो टुवर्ड्स द कैरावान. The travelers adopted the practice of arranging the animals in a circle at night, sleeping together in the center as protection against the nocturnal cold. And the leader posted armed sentinels at the fringes of the group. The Englishman was unable to sleep one night. He called to the boy, and they took a walk along the dunes surrounding the encampment. There was a full moon, and the boy told the Englishman the story of his life. The Englishman was fascinated with the part about the progress achieved at the crystal shop after the boy began working there. That's the principle that governs all things, he said. In alchemy, it's called the soul of the world. When you want something with all your heart, that's when you are closest to the soul of the world. It's always a positive force. So, this is also a very profound line that when you want something with all your heart, that's when you're closest to the soul of this world. तो अगर आप बहुत दिल से कोई चीज आपको चाहिए होती है, आप बहुत उसमें ऑनेस्टी होती है आपसे, आपकी दिल से, that's when you're closest to the universe. That's the soul of the world there. He also said that this was not just a human gift, that everything on the face of the earth had a soul, whether mineral, vegetable, or animal, or even just a simple thought. Everything on earth is being continuously transformed because the earth is alive and it has a soul. We are part of that soul. So we rarely recognize that it is working for us. But in the crystal shop, you probably realize that even the glasses were collaborating in your success. The boy thought about that for a while as he looked at the moon and the bleached sands. I have watched the caravan as it crossed the desert, he said. The caravan and the desert speak the same language. And it's for that reason that the desert allows the crossing. It's going to test the caravans every step to see if it's in time, and if it is, we will make it to the oasis. If either of us had joined this caravan based only on personal courage, but without understanding that language, this journey would have been much more difficult. They stood there looking at the moon. That ये जो understanding है कि everything is for the best, the universe is working for us, मतलब we are all guided. ये सब चीजें अगर वो नहीं understand करते तो वो journey difficult हो जाती. They stood there looking at the moon. That's the magic of Omen, said the boy. I've seen how the guides read the signs of the desert and how the soul of the caravan speaks to the soul of the desert. The Englishman said, I'd better pay more attention to the caravan, and I'd better read your books, said the boy. They were strange books. They spoke about Mercury, salt, dragons, and kings, and he didn't understand any of it. But there was one idea that seemed to repeat itself throughout all the books. All things are the manifestation of one thing only. तो ये जो बॉय है ही स्टार्टेड रीडिंग द बुक्स जो इंग्लिशमैन के पास थे. तो उसको ना पहले बड़ा अजीब लगे बुक्स. फिर बाद में उसने रियलाइज किया कि सब में एक ही बात रिपीट हो रही थी कि जो भी कुछ हो रहा है इट्स द मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ वन थिंग ओनली. एक ही चीज से मैनिफेस्ट हो रहा है. In one of the books, he learned that the most important text in the literature of alchemy contained only a few lines and had been inscribed on the surface of an emerald. It's the emerald tablet, said the Englishman, proud that he might teach something to the boy. Well, then, why do we need all these books? The boy asked. So that we can understand those few lines, the Englishman answered, without appearing really to believe what he said. The book that most interested the boy told the stories of the famous alchemists. They were men who had dedicated their entire lives to the purification of metals in their laboratories. They believed that if a metal were heated for many years, it would free itself of all its individual properties, and what was left would be the soul of the world. This soul of the world allowed them to understand anything on the face of the earth because it was the language with which all things communicated. They called that discovery the masterwork. It was part liquid and part solid. तो जो एक बुक जो बॉय को बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगी, वो उसमें सब फेमस अल्केमिस्ट की स्टोरीज थी। तो वो अल्केमिस्ट कौन थे? दे वर मेन हु डेडिकेटेड देयर एंटायर लाइफ टू प्योरिफाई मेटल्स। ठीक है, और उनको लगता था कि अगर मेटल वुड बी हीटेड फॉर मेनी इयर्स, उस इट वुड फ्री itself ऑफ ऑल द properties, and what would be left would be the soul of the world. So that would be part liquid and part solid. Can't you just observe men and omens in order to understand the language? The boy asked. You have a mania for simplifying everything, answered the Englishman, irritated. Alchemy is a serious discipline. Every step has to be followed exactly as it was followed by the masters. The boy learned that the liquid part of the masterwork was called the elixir of life, and that it cured all illnesses. It also kept the alchemist from growing old, and the solid part was called the philosopher's stone. तो उसको समझ आया कि जो ये मास्टर वर्क था, that was it cured all illnesses. जो liquid part था of the master work, it cured all illnesses, and it also kept the alchemist from growing old. And the solid part was philosopher's stone. It's not easy to find the philosopher's stone, said the Englishman. The alchemists spent years in their laboratories observing the fire that purified metals. They spent so much time close to the fire that gradually they gave up the vanities of the world. They discovered that the purification of the metals had led to a purification of themselves. The boy thought about the crystal merchant. He had said that it was a good thing for the boy to clean the crystal pieces so that he could free himself from negative thoughts. The boy was becoming more and more convinced that alchemy could be learned in one's daily life. Also, said the Englishman, the philosopher's stone has a fascinating property. A small silver of the stone can transform large quantities of metal into gold. Having heard that, the boy became even more interested in alchemy. He thought that with some patience, he'd be able to transform everything into gold. He read the lives of the various people who had succeeded in doing so: Helvetius, Elias, Falcanelli, and Geber. They were fascinating stories. Each of them lived out his personal legend to the end. They traveled, spoke with wise men, performed miracles for the incredulous, and owned the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. तो ये जो फिलोसोफर स्टोन की बहुत एक फैसिनेटिंग प्रॉपर्टी क्या थी कि इट कुड ट्रांसफॉर्म लार्ज क्वांटिटीज ऑफ मेटल इनटू गोल्ड। तो ये सुन के वो बॉय और ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड हो गया अल्केमी में। तो उसको लगा विद थोड़ा सा पेशेंस से इवन ही कुड ट्रांसफॉर्म एवरीथिंग इन गोल्ड। तो ये सब फैसिनेटिंग स्टोरीज थी जो वो पढ़ रहा था, एंड ऑल ऑफ देम वर अबाउट वही पर्सनल लेजेंड, they all of them lived out their personal legend. They performed miracles, and they owned both the things, the philosopher's stone and elixir of life. But when the boy wanted to learn how to achieve the masterwork, he became completely lost. They were just drawings, coded instructions, and obscure texts. और जब उसने बॉय ने सोचा कि उसको चाहिए वो मास्टर वर्क, ही वांटेड टू अचीव इट, तब वो बिल्कुल लॉस्ट हो गया बिकॉज ही कुड जस्ट सी ड्राइंग्स एंड कोडेड इंस्ट्रक्शंस जो उसको नहीं समझ आए. Why do they make things so complicated? He asked the Englishman one night. The boy had noticed that the Englishman was irritable and missed his books. so that those who have the responsibility for understanding can understand. He said, imagine if everyone went around transforming lead into gold. Gold would lose its value. तो कहता है वो इसलिए कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है क्योंकि जिनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है समझने की वो ही समझते हैं। नो हर कोई तो नहीं ढूंढने जाएगा, हर कोई तो ट्राई नहीं करेगा ना लेड को गोल्ड में बदलने का। फिर गोल्ड विल लूज इट्स वैल्यू। It's only those who are persistent and willing to study things deeply who achieve the master work. तो जब बहुत एक perseverance, persistency होती है ना, जो बहुत और जिनकी बहुत डीपली चाहना होती है कि they want to achieve this, उनको ही ये मिलता है। That's why I'm here in the middle of the desert. I'm seeking a true alchemist who will help me to decipher the codes. When were these books written? The boy asked. Many centuries ago. They didn't have the printing press in those days, the boy argued. There was no way for everybody to know about alchemy. Why did they use such strange language with so many drawings? The Englishman didn't answer him directly. He said that for the past few days he had been paying attention to how the caravan operated, but that he hadn't learned anything new. The only thing he had noticed was that talk of war was becoming more and more frequent. Then one day the boy returned the books to the Englishman. Did you learn anything? The Englishman asked, eager to hear what it might be. He needed someone to talk to so as to avoid thinking about the possibility of war. I learned that the world has a soul and that whoever understands that soul can also understand the language of things. I learned that many alchemists realized their personal legends and wound up discovering the soul of the world, the philosopher's stone, and the elixir of life. तो जो बॉय है वो कहता है कि मैंने समझा कि द वर्ल्ड हैज अ सोल एंड जो भी इस बात को समझते हैं दे अंडरस्टैंड द लैंग्वेज ऑफ थिंग्स एज वेल। तो वो सोचता है कि द अल्केमिस्ट रियलाइज देयर पर्सनल लेजेंड्स। तो जो उसने सीखा कि they also realized it and so they ended up discovering the soul of the world, the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. But above all, I learned that these things are all so simple that they could be written on the surface of an envelope. The Englishman was disappointed. The years of research, the magic symbols, the strange words, and the laboratory equipment, none of this had made an impression on the boy. His soul must be too primitive to understand those things, he thought. तो वो ना उसको लगा कि इतने साल उसने रिसर्च किया ये मैजिक सिंबल्स वर्ड्स और लेबोरेटरी इक्विपमेंट, उसका कोई इम्प्रेशन नहीं पड़ा उस लड़के पे तो सोचता है ही इज टू too innocent, too primitive to understand those things. He took back his books and placed them away again in their bags. Go back to watching the caravan, he said. That didn't teach me anything either. The boy went back to contemplating the silence of the desert and the sand raised by the animals. Everyone has his or her own way of learning things, he said to himself. His way isn't the same as mine, nor mine as his, but we are both in search of our personal legends, and I respect him for that. तो वो सोचता है कि हर किसी का अपना वे होता है ऑफ लर्निंग थिंग्स और उसका और मेरा सेम नहीं है। The caravan began to travel day and night. The hooded bidonus reappeared more and more frequently, and the camel driver, who had become a good friend of the boys, explained that the war between the tribes had already begun. The caravan would be very lucky to reach the oasis. The animals were exhausted, and the men talked about themselves less and less. The silence was the worst aspect of the night, when the mere groan of a camel, which before had been nothing but the groan of a camel, now frightened everyone because it might signal a raid. The camel driver, though, seemed not to be very concerned with the threat of war. I'm alive, he said to the boy as they ate a bunch of dates one night with no fires and no moon. When I'm eating, that's all I think about. If I'm on the march, I just concentrate on marching. If I have to fight, it will be just as good a day to die as any other. Because I don't live in either my past or future, I'm interested only in the present. ये बहुत important है कि वो past और future में नहीं देख रहा, he's just in the present. So he's just concentrating in what is happening in the present moment. उसको कोई वो नहीं है कि war होगी नहीं होगी, उसको उस बारे में कोई interest नहीं है. He's just living in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you'll be a happy man. You'll see that there is life in the desert, there are stars in the heavens, and that tribesmen fight because they are part of the human race. Life will be a party for you, a grand festival, because life is the moment we are living right now. Very important. कि जब आप प्रेजेंट में ही फोकस करेंगे तो आपको कुछ यू विल बी लिविंग टू द फुलेस्ट बिकॉज ना पास्ट ना फ्यूचर के थॉट्स जब आपको नहीं आएंगे माइंड में सो दैट विल बी लिविंग that moment itself, and so you'll be enjoying every moment. 2 nights later, as he was getting ready to bed down, the boy looked for the star they followed every night. He thought that the horizon was a bit lower than it had been because he seemed to see stars on the desert itself. It's the oasis, said the camel driver. Well, why don't we go there right now? The boy asked. Because we have to sleep. Okay, so we'll end here today. Tomorrow we'll start from the boy awoke as the sun arose. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining today's session. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Thank you.